Hey, how's it going? Chris Eischen here. This is a full circle, and I have an interesting interview today. I have Becky on the line, and we have been chatting the past couple of days about life and kids and just I don't know, all the things that that we've experienced as we go through life. I've mentioned Becky on the show in the past on how she's able to get. She has a lot. She owns her own business. She's a mother of three, a single mother of three. Raising them on her own. So she is definitely a proud practicer of the oxygen mask and maintaining that cool head when everything around you seems to be falling apart. So I want to introduce Becky and then learn a little bit more about her. So,
Hi.
hey.
I'm, where do you want me to start?
Well, um, really wherever you'd like. I know, why don't you talk about your kids and kind of maybe I know your oldest is about to be 12, so why don't you
hmm
talk about that and your relationships and with the kids, with
Um,
the kids' parents and all that.
okay. I have a daughter that's 12. She's getting to be that challenging stage. She's 12 going on 18.
Right.
I think nowadays, seriously, the kids, when they turn 10, they're teenagers already, and everything's really advancing. So she's got her times where she can be a little snippy, a little snotty. So we're going through that. But I love her. And I have a 6-year-old boy who is a really, really sweet like individual. He's a really sweet soul, but then he has like a temper that'll come out when he's tired or when he's hungry, it seems like. But I guess that's normal for the kids.
Yeah.
And I have a 3-year-old that is attached to my hip. He's just really, he follows me around the house and he won't leave my side. He goes, I want you, Mama. I want you all the time. He's such a mama's boy. So that's, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, so how is it that with those three kids that you're able to run your own business? Okay, so now we have a little background on your kids. She owns her own business. It's a doggy spa. Why don't you talk about that a little bit and what inspired you to get into that and
Uh,
go along that?
okay. About 14 years ago, I was actually going to school for dental hygienist, and so I thought that was going to be my career. And I walked into a corporate place, and they were looking for like bathers, part-time bathers, just somebody to be a groomer's assistant. And I thought, well, that's a cool job I can do while I'm at school. And then I just started working there more and more, and really felt like I had a passion for these pets and for the industry. So I actually dropped out of school, and the place I was working at offered me a schooling for free.
Oh,
So I went to schooling for dog grooming and became certified, and I worked at corporate for 10 years. And eventually, it just wasn't my thing. They were more about like pumping out clients. I always say like quantity over quality kind of thing. So,
is what
uh,
their perspective was quantity over quality? Is that
right,
okay?
yeah, yeah. I felt like they wanted us to do so many in a day. And one time, one of my managers told me, um, if you have to, we have to get out this certain amount every day. So if you have to cut corners, that's what you have to do. And she goes, just leave some hair on the paws. What's an owner gonna know about dog grooming? They don't notice it. So if you have to do that just to get out this number that we had to live up to, go ahead and do that. And I thought to myself, that was the point where I really thought to myself, like, I have to do something on my own. This isn't right.
Mm.
So I ended up renting a space from a do-it-yourself dog wash, kind of like a hairdresser would rent from a salon. So I did that for a while and the whole intention that whole time was to build clientele, build my business while I was there, and then move out eventually. And the woman that ran the place knew that. That's what I was going to do. So I got to keep my clients. And so that's after that, I moved
So
and got my
you
own, built my own salon.
yeah, so you just
hmm
recently opened up your own salon. What? How long ago?
In April. So, and it's November almost now. So a few months ago
Yeah.
already.
So if you're in the Green Bay area, what's your area specifically?
I'm 5 minutes from the stadium, from the Packer Stadium.
Okay.
So it's a really, it's a residential area. It's a really, people are walking dogs all the time around here. So it's a good spot, hot
Yeah.
spot.
So if you're in the Green Bay area, check out Becky's Dog Grooming,
The doggy spa.
the doggy spa,
hmm
and you can find her and get your pets taken care of there because she's pretty awesome. But
And it will be quality work.
right. Well, one of the things I talked about on a previous show was this time in Becky's life a few months ago when she had a falling out with the lady that you were working with or you were renting the space from. You had kind
hmm
of a falling out with her. You had a relationship kind of come to an end and
hmm
had to move out and find your own place. And then some car troubles
Hmm.
that you had, and you
hmm
had a lot of stuff going on, and you were able to, through like the power of the oxygen mask, right? Like
Right.
your meditation and all that, you were able to look past all those things that a lot of people would just stop dead in their tracks and go, what am I going to do?
hmm
And with you having that falling out with the lady you were renting from, now you had your own business that you had to go find a new place. You had to figure out what you were going to do. Your place wasn't ready yet. That you were having
hmm
like your building that you're in now was being built, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you weren't ready to move in yet, and yet you had a full week's worth of dogs to groom with no place to groom them.
hmm hmm
Um, So a lot of people could have just froze up, but why don't you talk about that? Talk about how you were able to look past that, what your thought process was when you had all this negative things coming at you from the world.
Right, right, and it was hard to deal with the salon situation as well because her and I were really close friends also, and I know they always say don't mix business with friends, but we kind of just built a friendship over the years, and she kind of left me with a lot of responsibility at her shop. She moved and stuff, and I felt like I was taking care of everything. And then when she found out about my new shop, she got upset about it, and I felt like I just felt really bad that I was helping her so much, and she kind of just put me out suddenly. So, and so she kicked me out of the salon, and I had dogs booked the next day, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. It was really stressful. I had people calling me to get appointments, and I had to call my clients and tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I can't do your dog right now. I don't have a place to go. And so I also at the time had split up with my boyfriend, a abusive relationship, and which that breakup, a lot of it was inspired by Kick-Ass Dad. You guys really helped me
It
realize that.
inspired your breakup? Wait a
Uh, you
minute.
did, you did, because you made me realize that there are good guys out there, and you don't have to settle for somebody that isn't. And you guys really made me see that. So that week I split up with him, and it was like I had to move out of the place that we were in. And so literally I had stuff in my car from my business and stuff in my car from my work or my home. And as I'm driving, thinking, what am I going to do? Like, I don't have a job now. I don't have a home now. I have the kids to take care of. And I got a flat tire. Like, as I was driving, thinking about that, all of a sudden I hear the tires swooshing. I'm like, no way. So I was close to a tire store. I drove in, or a oil changing shop. Drove in there. I didn't know if they could do anything for a tire. And I'm like, I'm just gonna keep my head up. I'm gonna keep positive. I'm not gonna. I had tears in my eyes, but I'm like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm just gonna deal with these emotions, right? And
Mm-hmm.
went in, and these guys are like, "Oh, we can patch your tire, and it's not gonna cost anything." They didn't charge me anything, which was really nice. I think they could tell
Yeah.
that I was a little stressed out. So got my tire patched, and I was driving and saw a for rent sign somewhere that I didn't expect to see one. Called the guy up, and he's like, I'll come right over to look at it. Perfect place for me and the kids, like perfect, nice little backyard and stuff. So I got that place, which took a little selling too. To get the guy said no at first, and I was like, I'm
Oh,
just
really?
gonna, yeah. He said no because I have a little credit issue, and I called him up and I said, I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm like, I promise you I will do a good job. Told him about the business. He's like, okay, I will let you in. So that was, at first when I saw the email saying you're not going to get the place, I was devastated. And then that was
Well,
that
and
same day too.
speaking to that, didn't you were just telling me the other day that he approached you about, because I didn't know that. But you were telling me the other day he approached you about signing a longer lease, that you've been a really good renter and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. He wanted me to sign a new 16-month lease, and the deal is he'd do lawn care, but I'm not sure if I want to take that. But anyway, so that same day I'm driving, I found the place, which I didn't. I saw the email and it said no, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep positive. That place is mine. Pictured it in my mind that it's mine, moving my stuff in and all that. And then I called, or a friend of mine called me, Margot. She's a great friend of mine from a long time. She has a grooming shop about 20, no, 15 miles from here. And I was talking to her about the situation, and I was like, will you groom? I said, will you groom some of my dogs so that my customers have a place to go at least? I could refer them to you. And she goes, why would I groom your dog? She's like, just move your stuff over here for a while till your shop is ready. And I was like, seriously, you'll do that? She goes, yeah. She's like, and you don't have to pay me, pay me whatever you want. And so that happened as well. So I got this place to groom. I got a home. I got my tire fixed. And it was all because I truly believe it was because I remained positive. And I think if you stay positive, you have that or positive energy, positive things are going to come. If you're in your negative zone, you are blocking out anything positive
About
that's going to come easily. Whoops.
no, yeah, it's about being open
Oh,
to the
thought I
possibilities, right?
lost you.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
I mean, I could have easily said, he said no in the email and just given up right there.
right. A lot of
Or,
people do that. They come up to a roadblock and they just let it stop them dead in their tracks instead
right.
of saying, okay, they said no. Well, am I going to settle for that? No, I'm not going to settle for that, right?
Hmm.
It kind of
Yeah.
makes me think of that time Michael and David went to a convention, a podcasting convention out in Las Vegas,
Hmm.
and this room was basically a networking room, and you had to reserve a table and everything else. Well, they walked in, kind of snuck past the security or whatever, and
Like
um,
they owned it.
right. They walked in. They're like, "Oh, there's a table open right here." So they sat down. They wrote on a piece of paper, "Kick-ass dad." They put their uh what am I trying to think of? Business cards. Wow.
Yeah.
They put their business cards out, and people were like coming up, meeting them. All these Michael Klaus, all these crazy huge
Yeah.
names,
Yeah.
coming up and talking to them, and you know. John Lee Dumas, and it opened up all these possibilities for us to now have them on the show. We've had them, John Lee Dumas on the show, and um, many many others as well. That all happened because they didn't let this little roadblock. Oh, we were supposed to reserve this spot a week ago.
Yes.
Like we're like,
Yeah.
hey, nobody's really paying attention. We'll just walk in, and
Yes.
everybody commended them for that.
That's
They called
great.
they called it guerrilla entrepreneurship, like just taking ownership and moving forward and having that mindset of, I want to make this happen, so I'm going to do what it
Yeah.
takes to make it happen. Richard Branson has an amazing story with that as well. He was supposed to be flying out of the country. I forget the location, but there was no flights going to the place he was trying to go. So he's like, man, I got to get there. So he looked at the cost to charter a plane, and there's no way he was going to be able to afford it. So he
Mm-hmm.
literally made a sign up and held it in the airport, selling tickets to this, to this chartered plane
Right.
to this location, and ended up selling all the seats to the plane and made a profit from it.
That's
So
amazing.
not only, yeah, I mean, it's not taking no for an answer and finding a way to make things happen. And
And
that's exactly what you did with your business. And you kept a positive attitude. Don't
yeah,
let no
yeah,
don't don't let no stop you,
right.
because no doesn't mean no. It just means that there's other opportunities.
It's yeah, definitely. It's overcoming the fear too of I'm gonna fail. I'm not gonna have this. Because I could have easily. I mean, I have a bankruptcy on my record from 10 years ago because I had some medical issues and had to file, and so that has always kind of been just a thorn in my side, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And
A black cloud
so
that's followed
right.
you.
Right, and it could be. I could easily say, well, I'm not going to find a place to rent because of that, because of my credit score, and I just try to keep a positive mindset, keep building that credit up until the bankruptcy is off, and it'll be looking good, and um, just always keeping positive. Like with the woman that really hurt me, I try to also stay positive with that. I could have, talked to my customers. They wanted to know what was going on, and could have said, yeah, she this, whatever, threw me out of the place, and don't go there, and blah blah blah. And I never once said a bad word about her. And now I'm trying to. She apologized recently to me, and I'm trying to forgive that. And it's really hard to forgive when somebody's really kind of hurt you.
Hmm.
But yeah, and I'm better off that way because she's referring people now over to my salon, which they weren't doing at first. So that's helping. I mean, when people come into her shop and she refers them to me, that's helping my business. So I could have said, yeah, you suck, and I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I hate you. And she would be saying, you suck, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I hate you. She definitely would not be referring people over to me at this point.
Right.
So, yeah, is a good thing just to, even if it hurts you, like, even if it feels like this isn't right, I can't, I'm not supposed to forgive this person. I'm supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to be this and that. Just realize that it is helping you to overcome that anger and to step into that positive. And people will be in your ear too saying, how can you do that? She's this, she's that, or how can you be this positive when you're going through that? That's just crazy. You're being woo woo or whatever. But it's like, just
Yeah.
brush them
I
off.
like
You
that.
have to. Yeah, just brush them off.
Yeah. And
So,
think about one of the things I always like relate back to when it comes to that idea, right? Is look at the example that you're setting for those kids, your daughter and your sons. And I think about that, the things that I do, setting an example for my son.
oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, when they see you reading these positive books like Success Principles by Jack Canfield or
Hmm.
The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, like those are some powerful books. I'm going through one now called Resurfacing. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've heard of it, but Michael had talked about it on the show recently, this Avatar program. Well, this book Resurfacing is part of that Avatar program, and it's written by Harry Palmer. Uh, I don't know, that name gives me a chuckle, but whatever. But that's my like little kid version of myself coming out.
Yeah.
Like immature, you immature kid. But that book, it's just all that personal growth. Look how to dive into yourself and know more about yourself. This life
Mhm.
possibilities class that I've been teaching, and that you and I talked about that, and it seems like something that you might be really interested in learning more about as well. So, um, all of these tools that we talk about on the show and that we use are things that's part of that oxygen mask. It's part of that example
Mhm.
that we're setting for our kids. And if you want your kids to be happy and have a successful life, and I don't mean like hugely financially successful, but
Right.
I mean successful in the necessities of life, being able to you know make friends and have just be surrounded by love in their life.
Mhm.
To me, that's
Mhm.
success. I mean, when you are surrounded by people that love you and adore you, and that you love and adore as well, there's that. It makes for such a joyful time here on this earth,
Mhm.
regardless of how short it might be. Um, that to me is the goal. Society, we've really lost focus on that. We've
Oh.
thought we try to get, oh, I'll buy the newest iPad or the newest gadget and gizmo, and
Mhm.
that'll fill this empty void that I'm feeling. Well,
Yeah.
instead of going and spending all that money on that crap, go spend the money on yourself. Dive into a personal growth program. You know,
Mhm.
go to a
Mhm.
Tony Robbins, go to John C. Maxwell. Get a hold of us. We have programs.
Yeah.
you know,
Listen to Kick Butt Dad, like my kids would say.
kick butt, dad. Um, you know, I, it's
And,
just there's so much out there that's available for you that's going to give you that satisfaction that you're looking for
mhm.
beyond the newest, latest gizmo or gadget, or as some people, they want to go out and buy that Mercedes Benz when you know the the little cheap Chevy would do the trick. You know,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that drives me nuts when I see people driving, $80,000 cars, and then they pull into a house that's like a $30,000-$40,000 house that roof's leaking and all this and that. I'm like, you put more money in your car
Mhm.
that you're
Mhm.
in a fraction of the time than you do the home that you live in.
Yeah.
That you're
And there's
the
things
roof
out
that you're.
there.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. And there's things out there that you don't realize that are going on just by purchasing that car. Like, for example, somebody drives up in a Hummer or Cadillac or something like, something super, super fancy. It looks like they have a lot of money. As a business person, I've noticed that I try not to do this way of thinking, but you like almost want to charge them more because you feel like, oh, well, they can handle it. They have all this money. So they don't realize that there's things going on that they may not even be aware of by purchasing that car that they can't afford.
Hmm.
Just you got to realize what you're putting out to the universe. You really do.
Yeah, looking at. I mean, if you are living in a life of that you have so much excess funds, right? You have all this
Hmm.
extra money, and you're dumping it into a $100,000 vehicle, or some
Yeah.
lavish vehicle. Um, like, where are your priorities? And I'm not saying, I like those cars. I do. I
I don't. I really have a issue with the big SUVs because
well,
I
I
think
drive
it's
I
you're
drive a
putting all of that
flat
out.
truck.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like you're putting all of that bad. You're putting the pollution into the air, and it's not necessary. Why do you need something so huge? Why can't you just drive something that's more efficient? Just and for the fact that like the Hummers, it's just purely based on I look good,
Right,
but
right.
I
The
don't
Escalade type
right.
thing. Yeah.
Uh,
Now, I yeah, I can't say that I disagree with you because I agree, but I think a lot of that goes like, okay, we talked in previous episodes. I talked about um, you look for the symptoms instead of the root cause.
hmm
Yeah, people want to drive those big fancy cars, but it's the are gas guzzlers, and they're
Mhm.
sucking down the fuel and all that, the emissions, all the pollution, and everything else that surrounds that.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of that, the technology exists for us to have a super fuel efficient vehicle, but
Right.
the cost to make that, or the cost in the technology, is too expensive. So the reason that gas has become the primary source for our vehicles is because it's cheap. So it's cheap. So I mean, it's getting to the point. Once it gets to the point where it's more expensive, then we'll start looking at it. And I think that's
Mhm.
the wrong mentality and the wrong perspective as a society. Instead of
Mhm.
saying that you know people are going to spend thousands of dollars on a Gucci outfit, or a, I don't know, Versace or something like that outfit, but yet spending, for a business to spend thousands of dollars on making something more economically sound
Yeah.
is something they're not willing to do. Now, like as an example, my stepdad's a nuclear engineer, and he was
Mhm.
telling me that they literally could make plutonium. That's what they put in the nuclear power plant to produce the nuclear energy, right? They could purify that to the purest form, and that nuclear power plant literally could run for thousands of years and not emit any not have any nuclear
Mhm.
waste.
Mhm.
Okay, but to take the time and the money that it takes to purify that plutonium is too expensive and too costly. It's cheaper to deal with the nuclear waste and store it in these salt mines that they put it in than
Mhm.
it is to spend the time refining that source. So
Right.
to me, there's a mentality problem there, that who cares what it costs?
Mhm.
You are producing waste that is highly toxic to mankind when it's unnecessary.
Well, it's kind of like the government bans certain cars because they're too fuel efficient because they're not making the money on the proceeds of the gas, and that's definitely the wrong mentality.
Yeah,
Um, it's but I think when it starts to get really bad, that's when the tipping point comes because people are going to start to stand out against it. So
yeah.
I just want
Okay, well, that this was Ben Becky. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, and this has been a really good conversation, and I'd love to have you on again.
okay, thank you.
All
Bye.
right.